Alright, youth leadership in action, the beauty for positive change in action. This is a quick, simple presentation which is very precious for young people, for teachers, and also for change makers and good media people, because many of these essentials in youth leadership and how powerful schools are as an environment and good media work is so far ignored. It's not really tapped, these potentials, except for very rare cases. So I'm going to show you through. We've seen young people love positive change, and it's really important that it's there because it's 80% of our behavior is coming from role models. You see here in the back Julia and Emma. The most important and the most awesome is when we got youth leaders in person in school, but it's not necessary. It works through the media, through poster collections, inspirational videos. We've seen it on 6 continents with youth leader teams who've been working in schools. Kids are inspired. They want to take action. So how does it work? See, 2 kids learn about there's issues of literacy and so on in First Nations fly-in communities. Some of their schools have no books at all, and so on. So they, 12 and 14 years old, decided we're going to take action. We're going to enormous supply of books to kids in First Nations communities. They wanted to make 1,000, maybe 2,000 books, and then they had them, and then they found out it's really difficult to get these things there. So they made partnerships with trucking companies, with airlines to get the books there, and it worked, and they were all excited. They could hardly believe that these kids had come up with so many books. And so then the media were also surprised, and they loved the story. Young people, positive, colorful, vibrant, awesome pictures, not standing there afraid in front of the school wall. That makes media headlines. So, and then of course they get invited to television, and they get into kids television because they love role models. And then they get more demand from more schools to hold presentation. And the kids love to help, and the teens love to help. Everybody is helping. And then, of course, the impacted communities are just amazed and are so happy. All 49 communities serve now because now with all these awards, galas, more supports, more sponsors, they have already collected 17,000 books for 49 fly-in communities in Ontario, and they have only started, and it keeps going, and they're really doing historic work because their main message is we care, and that's absolutely new for First Nations kids to hear that from white kids and white adults. Okay, there's something cool happening here, and these girls are doing that because the adult generations have been failing that for many generations. It's pretty interesting and historic what's happening with teen-driven change. So they could only do it because they are kids. Okay, go back to this image so you're not distracted. Because they're kids in schools. Schools are a supportive environment. They're a macro community. You got 500 to 1,000 kids in school. Activate those for global issues. This is just one. There can be 30, 40 other issues that the kids are passionate about. Others care more about the environment, others about human rights, others about stuff in Africa. So this is why youth-leader media on different issues ever present as poster displays, young people, eco clubs using these youth leader missions, youth leader adventures to inspire their peers can tap into enormous potential. So you got school students coming as a group, vibrant, passionate, and with school status. That's also much better to get exposure in media. Okay, so you got an infrastructure. You can even do it officially as eco clubs and so on. It's very powerful to use that infrastructure and status of school. You don't have such a big community like at school once you're in a job. And if you're in a job, the company focus is so narrow, for example, if you're in a big business, that you cannot just launch these actions. But in school, it's very cool to have it very, very centered. So the other example here is Craig. You should look his video, how his work has scaled to a huge movement, building 750 schools and so on. With his brother now, they have 4,000 school teams in 4,000 Canadian schools pushing this, involving hundreds of thousands of people. And this is very, very powerful. So you see it has really arrived in conventional schools. They're mainstreaming it, but it's really important for youth leadership to understand it's not just participating in actions, but it's dreaming up and doing your own actions. And that is why you have to look beyond me to we to yes, youth for